Does your horse, or maybe the horse that you ride in your lesson, have mouthy behaviors when you're trying to give them a treat? Maybe they are always sniffing in your pockets, or they come at you with their mouth open when you try to give them a treat. Horses with bad food manners can be dangerous. In fact, some barns have a no treat rule, but they don't have to be. In today's video, I'm going to give you a few tips for teaching your horse good food manners. I'm Julia, this is Rumba, and you're watching the Equine Network's weekly show. First, I will introduce Rumba. So Rumba is my 23-year-old quarter horse mare. She's 23, but she still has quite a bit of spark left in her. And we've worked together for a long time. So she has pretty good food manners, but I'll show you how I taught her to have those food manners. So she grew up actually on a ranch and was pretty unfamiliar with treats. So when she first started getting treats, they were sort of very exciting. But she's come a long way with her food manners. And again, I'm going to show you how I did that today. So when you first bring treats out, horses will often turn towards you. She already knows that I'm reaching in my pocket. Horses will often turn towards you and they'll start mouthing at your pockets or getting a little bit close in your space. And it's not a disrespect when a horse gets in your space. It's just the boundaries that we've allowed. So she doesn't know that she couldn't do that. So this is about teaching that boundary to keep us safer. So what I like to do to start this is I will use a signal. So you can either use a clicker or you could use a tongue click. So when I do that, that's signaling to her that she's done something correct, and then I'll give her a treat. Now, when you start doing signals for positive reinforcement training, you have to connect that signal with the treat. So, and then she would get a treat. She's a little sleepy, it's a little warm today. So she knows that that connects. So now she's going to sniff because she knows that I have treats, and I'm just going to wait and teach her to put her head straight out in front of her. And then I will also make sure that I'm treating her in front of her. So I'm not going to bring the treat back over in front of me and then reward her for coming back this way. I'm going to still give her the treat in front of her. So again, she's kind of turned towards me. I'm going to wait until she turns away, and then I'm going to give her a treat. So she knows that when I reach in my pocket, her turning her head away is what is going to give her the treat. And because of that, she has really good manners with food. So you can almost you saw there, she thought about coming over, realized that that wasn't the correct answer, and she immediately turned her head away. Actually, I have another horse who, when I do this with her, she turns her head the complete opposite way because she knows what the rules are around food. So now she's going to come back over and maybe mouth a little bit, and I'm just going to ignore that behavior. If she was actually going to nip, I probably would have made like a little movement with my hands, not to like hit her or anything, but just to sort of bring her attention to the fact that I don't want her to do that. I also don't want her to eat grass, so I'm going to pull her head up. And I'm going to wait and then signal. So that's how I would teach the head away to keep horses out of your space and have better food manners. Now, again, Rumba's a really easy example because she's done quite a bit of this, but I'm going to discuss some troubleshooting tips to give you just a few ideas if your horse maybe is overly motivated by food. So one thing you could do is use a food that is less motivating. So what I have here are actually some small horse treats, and she's kind of, so they're not like the tastiest, they're not peppermints or sugar cubes or something highly motivating for her, but they still taste pretty good. But if your horse gets really excited about treats, I would use something like their grain. So something that they're eating quite a bit of that's a little less exciting. Maybe not even a sweet feed, like a ration balancer that doesn't have that sweetness to it, that's not quite as motivating. So that's one thing you can do, is you can use a less motivating food. Now, if your horse is one that comes with their mouth open for the treat, I'm going to show you what I would do for that. So in that case, I'll wait, signal, and then I will actually hold my hand over their nose until their lips are quiet, and then I will treat. That way they're not learning that the movement of their mouth is going to give them the treat, that they have to wait. And my final troubleshooting tip is that if your horse gets really excited about food, or they just really need to kind of take a step back to the basics as far as food manners go, you can also put a barrier between you and them. So you could have a horse in the stall and you're on the outside, and maybe you're not even handing them the treat, maybe you're putting it into their feed bin. You're sort of creating an even bigger barrier at that point so that it keeps you safer, but they can also learn this behavior. It can also just teach the horse to have a different relationship with food and people. So it can be a good thing if your horse is like really aggressive when the grain truck comes around, anything like that. You know, creating that barrier and having those better food associations can be safer for not only you, but also the staff that's taking care of your horse. I hope today's video gave you a good overview of some tips that you can use to teach your horse better food manners. I like giving my horse treats. I think it creates a positive association with being with me, and I want her to enjoy our time together. And you know, she's not overweight, so I feel very comfortable feeding her treats, but it's just something that I like to do, and I know a lot of other riders like to thank their horse for the ride at the end of the day. If you have some favorite treats that you like to use with your horse, please tell me in the comments below, or maybe even some other tricks that you might have taught your horse using food rewards. I can't wait to hear from you.